round of the Nasty debating competition. This debate is between Pocock Secondary School and St. Stephen Church College. The motion of the debate is tenants of public housing estates should be allowed to keep pets, such as cats and dogs. The affirmative team from Pocock Secondary School is the first speaker, Kelly Ching. Second speaker, Lisa Wong. Third speaker, Lulu Cam. The negative team from St. Stephen Church College School is first speaker, Mandy Kwok. Second speaker, Amy Lai. And third speaker, Howard Learn. Each speaker may speak for 3 minutes. There will be a warning bell at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, with 2 bells at 3 minutes to indicate that speaker times has expired. At 3 minutes and 50 seconds, a bell will run 3 times. The speaker must stop here. If speaker exceeds the maximum time, points will be deducted. The first speaker of affirmative team, Kelly Ching, will begin our debate.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today's topic is that the tenants of public housing should be able or allowed to keep pets such as cats or dogs. So, what does our topic mean? The Oxford Dictionary describes a tenant as a person who pays rent for the use of land or building. Public housing is a mass housing program that means the government of Hong Kong can provide cheaper housing for lower income residents. A pet is an animal that families take in and treat as a family member. So, to make a conclusion, if you live in public supported housing, you should able or allowed to keep a pet, such as cat or dog. I will talk about health benefits of keeping pets. Our second speaker, Lisa, will talk about political issues. And our third speaker, Lulu, will sum up our cases and explain where the other team is wrong in their arguments. First, good health means mental and physical health. 52% of Hong Kong is public housing, and 48% of Hong Kong can negotiate about pets. My team thinks there should be one rule for everyone, not just for some. That is our team line. By 2020, a quarter of Hong Kong's population will be elderly. Most of these people live in public housing and have no family or visitors. A pet is often their only companion. A research by Dr. David Lewis from CUHK shows that interacting with a dog or a cat decreases stress, lowers the risk of heart attacks, and increase contentment. It is greater benefit to personal public health to have a pet. Public housing tenants have the right to that benefit too. Our busy life contributes to our stress. Working a dog means more physical activities, social contacts, and increased fitness. Yes, public housing is smaller on the other hand, but cleanliness and caring don't just increase with bigger house. A society is judged by the way it treats those at the bottom, and in Hong Kong, that means the poorer residents and animals. Prohibition of pet ownership for public housing tenants is a step towards a harmless, unequal society. So, we should have one rule for everyone. The motion must stand. Thank you.
The first speaker of the affirmative team has used 2 minutes and 59 seconds. No mark will be deducted. The first speaker of the negative team, Mandy Kwok, will begin their case.
Before I begin, let me offer some rebuttal. You said it is a personal benefit, but how about their neighbors? They just keep them disturbed by the dog making noise. Have you ever cared about them? They have just. Should people allowed to keep dangerous animals in public places? Should we be allowed to bring a poisonous snake on a bus? Should we be allowed to bring baby tiger on MTR? No, of course not. We believe that tenants of public housing estates should not be allowed to keep pets such as cats and dogs. This motion does not need to be defined. Everyone knows exactly what we are talking about. Our team line is that tenants of public housing estates should not be allowed to keep pets such as cats and dogs because the public has the right to a safe and peaceful living environment. As the first speaker, I will introduce our team's case and discuss the safety aspects. The second speaker will offer rebuttals and further elaborate our case on the aspects of a peaceful living environment. Our third speaker will summarize today's question and rebut our opponent's case. Tenants of public housing estates should not be allowed to keep pets such as cats and dogs because the public has the right to a safe and peaceful living environment. Let's talk about the safety of dogs in public places. According to the Daily Mail last week, a pet dog attacked a sleeping baby in public housing estate close of the child's neck. Before the parent could get the dog off the poor child, the dog had removed the baby's neck. Why on earth do we want to keep animals capable of this horror in public housing? According to National Health Services, in the UK, there are over 6,000 dogs bites per year that require hospitalization. Many more are not reported. Quite simply, dogs are not suitable pets for places where many people live in small places, sharing small elevators and narrow passages. It is not safe for the public. Now moving on to cats. Cats carry many diseases, parasites, and viruses, and cause allergies, all of which require thousands of hospitalizations each year. According to WebMD in 2012, 1 in 10 people suffer from allergy to cats. People with allergy, animal get sick, miserable, go to a hospital, and suffer. Why? Because of other people's cats. Does it make sense that one cat owner in a public housing estate should be allowed to make every tenant nearby possibly get sick, miserable, or even go to a hospital? No! Tenants of public housing estates should not be allowed to keep pets such as cats and dogs. Therefore, today's motion must fall.
The first speaker of the negative team has used 3 minutes and 6 seconds. No mark will be deducted. The second speaker of the affirmative team, Lisa Wong, will continue their case.
Good afternoon. In the book Animal Farm by George Orwell, there was one rule for the pig and one for the other animals. The motion is suggesting the same, one rule for private and one for public. There's nothing equal about that. As our first speaker said, there should be one rule for everyone. I'm going to talk about the politics of the topics, but I want to go back to the first speaker of the other team. The other team, Mandy, said that children are at risk from dogs. It is about safety problem. But dogs and cats can teach young people responsibility. Living in a small space is not the reason for a badly behaved dog. Dogs attacks occur in every city in the world, large or small. The other team, Mandy, also has said that dogs disturb people and make noise. Hong Kong is a noisy place. People sing karaoke are noisy. People play mahjong are noisy. Cantonese opera are noisy. Everything here is noisy. Should we ban all these activities too? The problem with noise is about training your pets. Any dogs will bark if it is lonely, hungry, or hurt. The Hong Kong authorities say that if you live in a public housing, you can only keep small household pets. This is because environment and hygiene problems. There are two problems with the motion. First, pets are not dirty, but if they are kept in bad conditions and not cared for, they will cause problems. The people in public housing are not less clean or caring than people who live in other places. A small space doesn't mean more germs. People in Hong Kong live in apartments, but half the people don't have to follow this rule. There should be one rule for everybody, or it makes a class divisions. Other big problem with this rule is with abandoned animals. Families with pets have had no choice but to abandon them. Stray dogs that become hungry also become dangerous. They develop into pets and starting hunting. This is bigger risk to public safety than keeping pets in apartments. We call Hong Kong Asia World City. Most modern cities care about animals. Take Singapore, a city known of being clean with everything. Public housing in Singapore allows tenants to keep pets. Beijing has changed the laws for keeping pets and now has a policy of responsible pet ownership. Hong Kong should do the same. People in public housing should be allowed to keep cats and dogs. It will prevent the loss of innocent animal life. The motion must stand. Thank you.
The second speaker of the affirmative team has used 3 minutes and 12 seconds. No mark will be deducted. The second speaker of the negative team, Amy Lai, will continue their case.
Tenants of public housing estates should not be allowed to keep pets such as cats and dogs because the public has the right to a safe and peaceful living environment. Our first speaker showed that cats and dogs pose safety risks in terms of destructive and dangerous behavior as well as carrying disease. Before I begin my own case, let me point out a problem in our opponent's case. You said that elderly has no family. Dogs can be their family. However, dogs and cats are just animals. They are different from humans. They can't even give them any love. Moreover, they are dirty and pollute the environment and disturb others. Should we be allowed to keep pets such as cats and dogs in the tenants of public housing estates still? Of course not. Moving on to our own case, tenants of public housing estates should not be allowed to keep pets such as cats and dogs because the public has the right to a safe and peaceful living environment. Here in Hong Kong, there's a lot of stress. I have stress and you have stress. According to the Hospital Authority in Hong Kong, noise pollution causes stress, anxiety, sleep disorders, hearing loss, sickness, and even hospitalization. The Hong Kong government in 2011 released a report that 46% of Hong Kong people suffer from excessive noise pollution. Now, for any numbers of reasons, dogs will bark during the night, sometimes all night long. Now, let me speak from personal experience. My neighbor has a cute little dog. We all like the dog, but the dog barks during the night. That means we often wake up during the night. Do I or my family like it? No, we can't stand it. But our building allows dogs, so we suffer day after day. The whole problem would be more simpler if people simply were not allowed to have dogs in crowded Hong Kong buildings. We people in Hong Kong, both students and adults, work hard. We need to have a peaceful place to rest at night. Cats and dogs, with their barking, thundering behavior, and disease makes our lives worse. We don't deserve it. So why should we all have to suffer for a little people to have animals in their homes? Finally, many people suffer from fear of dogs. Perhaps they have been injured before. In any case, whenever they are forced into a small elevator with dogs, it is torture for them. Tenants of public housing estates should not be allowed to keep pets such as cats and dogs because the public has the right to a safe and peaceful living environment. Our opponents are telling us that the owners of pets have the right or need to have pets. No, sadly, the evidence is not with them. We must remember the government's notion of the most benefits for the most people. One person should not be allowed to make many suffer because of their selfish interests. Therefore, today's motion must fall. Thank you.
The second speaker of the negative team has used 3 minutes and 19 seconds. No mark will be deducted. The third speaker of the affirmative team, Lulu Camp, will conclude their case.
Good afternoon. My team has argued that everyone should be able to keep a pet in Hong Kong, not just some people. The other team have some strange ideas about pets and public housing. Let's look at what they have said. The first speaker, Mandy, said that a safety problem in hospital, it is wrong because it's an absurd thinking. We cannot compare hospital and public housing. They're totally different. Hospital is a place which gives treatment for patients, but public housing is a place to live. So we can't compare these two places at all. And she also said that dogs and cats spread germs around the public areas. But small place doesn't mean more germs. We have turned the dog into a pet. Go out on Saturday and Sunday and see the number of people walking dogs that have pretty shoes, colored hair, and nice coat. Some even eat at tables with their owners. Now, we are saying that they should be abandoned because they bother people and make a mess. Which dogs are we talking about? Aren't we really talking about responsible caring for dogs that anyone can do? And the second speaker of the negative team said that Hong Kong is an international city and pets are very dirty. But in Singapore and Beijing are two places that have allowed pets. They understand that many elderly residents need companionship and that pets benefit for people's mental health. We are not suggesting that Hong Kong people keep huge dogs, but to not be able to keep any kinds of dogs and cats is unreasonable. And also, the Association for Research into Science of Enjoyment, ARISE, in 2010 found Hong Kong to be one of the most stressed countries in the world. 49 billion was spent on mental health service in 2012. A large group were people with depression, living alone. The companionship of animals may help them. And also, you can't use your own experience because it doesn't mean the whole city. So let's review our case. Our first speaker, Kelly, talked about the health benefits that pets can bring to their owners. She pointed out that many tenants in public housing are elderly, without family, without support, and that often a pet is their only companion. She told us that pets have been shown to reduce stress, improve health, and even help the terminally ill. Our second speaker, Lisa, looked at the inequality of this motion. She pointed out that hygiene and care is not determined by money, and the problems in believing that it is. And she also talked about the huge problem of abandoned animals in Hong Kong. There should be one law for everyone, not just some. Responsible pet ownership is the issue here. The motion must stand. Thank you.
The third speaker of the affirmative team has used 3 minutes and 12 seconds. No mark will be deducted.
May I have your attention, please?
The third speaker of the negative team, Howard Learn, will conclude their debate.
Good evening, adjudicator. I'm the third speaker. Our opponents have tried to show you tenants of public housing estates should be allowed to keep pets, such as cats and dogs. But the evidence is clearly against them, and they should not. Let me begin with some rebuttals. You said that people had to walk the dog, but do you know that they will pollute the environment when they dequit? You also said that many countries care about pet animals, but don't you think that giving them more freedom is better than controlled by human? Yes, you are right. Keeping a pet can be. Yes, you are right. Hong Kong is a noisy place. It makes all of us feel tired. But I don't agree that the tenants are living in a noisy house. One thing I want to tell you is that living places should be peaceful and quiet. But dogs create a lot of noise. We're talking about hospitalization, that means people injured. Not talking in hospital. You said that small places do not mean many germs. But we are talking about area, but we are not talking about the area of the flat. We are talking there are many germs in cats or dogs. You cannot control the barking of dogs. We have clearly shown that tenants of public housing estates should not be allowed to keep pets such as cats and dogs because the public has the right to a safe and peaceful living environment. Therefore, this motion must fall. Our first speaker clearly showed the health risks caused by dogs and cats. She even told us that 6,000 people go to hospital each year because of dog attacks. They are simply too dangerous. Our second speaker told us how much disturbance and unease and even terror animals cause people. We heard an impressive personal example of how much suffering and stress she experienced because of her neighbor's dogs. It was so sad to hear, right? It also clearly showed why dogs should not be allowed in small Hong Kong flats. Our opponents have tried to tell us an untrue story based on unconvincing evidence. Opponents, audiences, and honorable adjudicator. Why should one pet owner be allowed to cause stress, suffering, injury, illness, and perhaps even death to his neighbors? There is no good reason. Pets do not belong among people living together in small spaces. Tenants of public housing estates should not be allowed to keep pets such as cats and dogs because the public has the right to a safe and peaceful living environment. Therefore, this motion must fall. Thank you.
Third speaker of the negative team has used 3 minutes and 10 seconds. No mark will be deducted. The adjudicator, Ms. Wasserman, will now deliver the adjudications and announce the result of this debate.
Where can I stand so you can see me? Maybe if I stand over here, all see me. First of all, thank you very much, chairpersons, for doing a great job. We often forget to thank them, so everyone, I'd like to very nice. And thank you to both teams for what was a wonderfully exciting, interesting debate. And you obviously worked very hard at it, so well done. It's not easy, is it, to come up here and debate publicly? People become very nervous, right? And it seems that with practice, you'll soon be able to take these cards and throw them away. Because although both teams developed wonderful arguments, developed obviously some very, very good team lines. Both team lines were very impressive. I liked your team lines equally. But I think if there was a criticism for everybody today, it would be that you're depending a little bit too much on the cards. Okay, now everyone does this, I know. Even my team, they do this at the Form 5 level, they're still doing this. And it takes experience to be able, and confidence to be able to not depend on them so much. A trick to avoid using your cards so much is to first of all practice your speech a lot. You have to spend a lot of time practicing. So it seems that you're just saying it, okay? Try to memorize your speech and try to put your speeches on your cards in point form, or at least highlight important parts. Because I'm finding people going, and then and you're reading lines. And what happens when that happens? What happens? You tell me. If you're reading your sentences, nice, confident, beginning with a clear voice, what's the problem? What's the problem? No eye contact, right? Remember, your job today is not to convince the other side, not to convince them. You will never convince the other side. You can't try to convince me, I'm just the audience. You have to convince these people, okay? That's who you're trying to convince. I know somebody mentioned, good afternoon, dear adjudicator. That's lovely, but try not to do that. You have to pretend the adjudicator's not there. You are trying to convince the audience. If you keep this in mind, then your delivery will be better, because your whole objective, your whole point is to try and convince. Understand? Try and persuade all of us that, yes, we're right. Okay? So to do this, you need to have what we call audience rapport. Do you understand audience rapport? Audience rapport. Okay? So you have to have connection with the audience. And the fastest and easiest way to do that is through your eye contact. Okay? So please be sure that you're looking at people and having eye contact. So they'll be following you. Okay, I'm busy writing notes, so forget about me. I'll be watching to see if you have eye contact. But these are the guys you have to be talking to. Don't try to convince them. You'll never convince the other side. But it's the audience. That's who you're trying to really convince. So please, try to practice using your cards less. That means rehearsing your speeches, the speech part more, and practicing rebuttals more. I notice some of you have got prepared rebuttals on your cards. Okay, we all do it. You have to do it sometimes, but try to prepare them and practice them a lot so that you don't have to depend on reading them. Understand? That's probably the biggest point I'd like to make this afternoon. Okay, let's, do you want individual kind of feedback or just...
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah, I just want to keep everyone here till 7:30. Okay, I'll try to be quick. Okay.
They'll show you out anyway.
But no, really, you guys had developed some great ideas, some great arguments. It was really lovely. I think I would like to see, again, just before I go to individual response, I'd like to see a little bit more gumping. You know what I mean? Gumping, more passion, more feeling, right? It seems that I'm not sure. Sorry, did I say wrong?
Gumping.
No.
Gumping. I'm waiting to see you guys really care about these dogs and cats, or really care about people and their hygiene and their environment. You're not caring enough. How do I know? Because your body language is not telling me enough. Understand? Look at me now. Look at my body language. I'm trying to convince you to have more body language. What am I doing with my body? What am I doing? Am I standing here? Please try to be more convincing. What am I doing? Look at my body. I'm bending forward, you know. I'm using my hands. I'm using gestures. I'm using my voice. I'm using pace. Slow down. Better to have a few points, but very strong. Don't have we can't keep up. Think about it. Understand? So please try to remember this. The team that won today actually had a little bit better delivery in terms of pace. They were much less worried about getting all the information to the audience, but more concerned about getting their point across clearly. And that can win or break, win you or lose a debate. So be careful about that. Pace is very important in the debate. Okay, let's start with Kelly. Kelly, first affirmative. Kelly came up lovely, clear, confident, nice strong voice. Great, lovely pace. You had actually quite good pace, and you had some very interesting arguments, and you outlined your team's job, your team's points, your allocation was very clear. Had no problems. And your team line was very catchy. Do you understand what I mean by catchy? It's something that's easy to remember. One rule for everyone, not just for some. So I quite like that. You guys had a nice team line. the public has a right to a safe and peaceful environment. That's true, but can we put it in such a way that we will remember it easily? Okay? How about a question like, don't you think, our team 9 is that, don't you believe that people have the right to a safe environment? You can put it in a question, it doesn't matter. We're still answering the idea of a team 9, just to make it a little bit more catchy, okay? But you guys had, Kelly had some great points about mental health, the elderly, there's more elderly increasing, they need more companions. You've used some Hong Kong research, and you talked about cleanliness and caring was not relative to the house size. It didn't matter whether you're living in a small house or a big house. Looking after your pet is about how well you look after your pet, not the size of your house. So that was quite a good point to make, I thought. Then Mandy came along. Mandy, lovely, straight, standing straight, big voice, that's great. And you had some very interesting arguments back. You did the same job, team line, allocation, extremely well done, everything was perfect. You were talking about the safety aspects, you were talking about peaceful living environment, and you used a lot of arguments from the Daily Mail. Did I hear the Daily Mail? Is something about the Daily Mail, a dog was attacking a baby, yeah? And then you talked about, wasn't sure which estate that was in. Was that in a Hong Kong estate? Okay, I didn't miss that. Perhaps if you'd name the estate, give the name of the estate, maybe I missed it. But perhaps if you give more specific reference to Hong Kong itself. You talked about 60,000 dogs attacks in the UK, right? Yeah. Okay, that's great. How many attacks in Hong Kong? How many dog attacks in Hong Kong? Try to avoid using information that's not related to the topic, which is Hong Kong, right? Public housing is Hong Kong. Are we talking about Hong Kong or not? The affirmative mentioned where? Did you mention Hong Kong?
Yes.
Yeah. So you see, because they have said we're talking about Hong Kong, that was your chance to say, well, public housing estates can be anywhere, okay? It's okay, don't worry, that's not a big deal. But something that comes with experience is being confident enough to attack the definitions. You have to listen carefully to the definition, and if there's any area you think you can attack, you can, okay? But you came up and you did a wonderful job, Natalie. You gave us some really, really good information, and it was very interesting. Cats have diseases, they create allergies. Just maybe slow down a little bit. It's a little bit. Just slow down a little bit. But you had some really, really good points, some good arguments. Well done. Okay, and then we had Lisa. Yes, Lisa. I liked the fact that you mentioned Animal Farm. The reference to Animal Farm. Have you read the book Animal Farm? Have you actually read it? Yes. Just a little, some parts of it. I recommend you read it. It's a very interesting book that we all read when we were at school.
Yep.
But the main point of Animal Farm, which you raised, is those stories about how all these pigs run the farm. They kick out the farmer and they take over running the farm. But the rules are not the same for everyone. Okay, and you use this analogy very well. You use this idea quite well because maybe you knew that I would know the book. Anyway, but it's good to use some other material, some other books that you've read or some knowledge you have from elsewhere and bring it into the debate. That's always impressive. You keep referring to the other team and you mentioned the word Mandy. Okay, guys, you shouldn't actually mention the other team's names. And you shouldn't say the other team, you should try to refer to them as the honourable negative team or our good friends, the negative team here. You should keep it not so personal. Don't use a personal name, okay? That's just this little thing. But in debates, it's the team that you're attacking. You can mention what the second speaker said or the first speaker said, but you shouldn't really be using names. Just a little thing because that becomes too personal. And in bigger debates, you cannot get personal. Okay? Just a little thing, it's not a big deal. You mentioned something about dogs being noisy, but then Mahjong is noisy. Hong Kong's a very noisy place, absolutely. You talked about the environment and the hygiene. Pets are dirty only if they're kept in bad conditions. And this was something that this team kept arguing, that pets that are not well looked after are dirty. Pets that are looked after and cared for properly are not dirty. So perhaps that's something that should have been taken up by the negative team, negative team a little bit more strongly. You talked about Hong Kong being a world city, but look at Singapore. Singapore also allows for animals, okay? That's something that perhaps, and Beijing, you talked about Beijing too, right? Beijing is allowed to have, Beijing's changed its policy, so that was a very difficult thing to argue against. So all these other so-called world cities allowing pets, why not Hong Kong? So again, Lisa, very good, but a little bit reliant on your cards too, a little bit too much reading of the cards. Try to practice your speech, try to practice your rebuttals, so you don't need to do that, okay? Then Amy, very nice. Amy came up, and Amy has some very strong rebuttals. Very well, very clever, restated the team line so that we're getting the whole team working together. That's great. We summarised what the first speaker said. You can, but I wouldn't waste your time doing that. We've heard what she said. If I were you, just go straight into your rebuttals. But, you know, what you did in terms of stating the team line again was very powerful. That's good. Good girl. You talked about noise pollution creating stress and sickness, dogs barking make people sick. I can't sleep. Look at my neighbour's dogs, are so noisy, terrible neighbour's dog. Is it true? Yeah. Anyway.
Mine too, by the way.
Yeah. Well, it is a big issue. It is a big issue, and I think it was very good of you to raise a personal point, and I think that was great. The other team attacked you. So did you notice that? Did you notice what they said about your personal experience?
They said that's not strong enough. That's not related to all of us.
Yeah. Do you agree with that?
But although that's not all people suffer this problem, but some of them will also have this problem.
Yeah, yeah. I think you probably have a very good point, and I think they've got every right to say that it's not related. Depending on the example you use, your personal example, it can be powerful or it can be not. I think it was quite good. Perhaps if you'd used a few more personal examples, a few more examples of how dogs or animals in your state are dirty, or you walked the other day and you walked into some doggy business, you know. You can make it even more powerful than just the dogs barking at night, okay? You could perhaps, both teams ignore the health side, the issue of hygiene, and how living in such small confined areas, hygiene in confined, high density living such as Hong Kong is a big issue. Okay? Good.
It's alright.
Somebody's
Clementine.
sounds like a birthday card. Okay. So, Amy, very nice. I like your idea of the fear of dogs, being afraid of dogs. People, and it's true, a lot of Hong Kong people are very afraid of dogs. They're not used to them. For example, a dog in an elevator. That was powerful. Relating it back to Hong Kong, that's great. So, yeah, good job. Nice. Again, reading the cards, try to practice people, okay? Then we had the last speaker, Lulu. Lulu, oh my goodness, blew me away, Lulu. She stood up and she blah, 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 very confident, lots of passion, lots of feeling, okay? Lulu said we can't compare hospitals with public housing, they're not the same thing. Dogs you see people walking with dogs in little pretty shoes. Oh my God, it's like cool.
No.
And you see people eating at the table with dogs. Why should the rules be different for them? And so you guys were in your rebuttals were summing up and reinforcing your own team line. That is, the rules aren't the same. Why aren't the rules the same for everybody? And that was good. It meant a very strong case. So again, you said it's unreasonable to keep. You said, aren't we just? This is the rhetoric question. Aren't we just really talking about responsible pet ownership? Okay. So she was the third speaker for affirmative time, and that was a very powerful thing, and it had to be attacked. Aren't we just talking about pet ownership? And that's probably something that came through their whole team line. We're just talking about bad pet keepers, pet owners, not about the environment. It's really about how we take care and we control those pets. So Mental health, companionship, you said that it was a question of mental health. These poor people, if they don't have the companionship of dogs, they get very unhappy and they end up in hospital. And you also said that their own experience was relevant. And you summarised your case very well. First we said this, second, you see the body language? First we said this, second we said this, and third we said this. Very effective body language. Summarising, just even do summarising. Our first speaker said this, this, this. Our second speaker this, this, this. So that's powerful body language. I like that. What else can I say about you? Nothing, but I think your rebuttals were very powerful and very strong and very specific. You attacked particularly exactly what they said, and that's good. Okay, and then we have our wonderful speaker. Up he comes, and that's Howard. Howard, you're the only boy here. Well done. Good for you. You came up here, and Howard, you were giving us everything, and that's really great. Howard, you had lots and lots of points, and you rebutted things about people walking dogs. When they walk the dogs, they pollute, and you talked about tenants living in noisy environments, and we're talking about, what did I say? Tenants. I can't read what I've said here. Living in a noisy house. Oh, you talked about the hospital. Only the hospital's only for the injured people. So you were attacking their idea of people become sick, mentally sick. So you were saying that, only the injured people go to the hospitals. Do you think that some people who have some mental problems go to hospital too?
Yes.
Maybe? Okay. But you summed up your case very well. You talked about a small area very well. They talked about, you finally referred to the fact that we're living in a very small, tight, confined environment, and I think that was an important point that the team needed to make. You can't control dogs, you can't control their barking, you can't control the germs. That's good. Perhaps more of that could have come out earlier in the other speakers too, that you can't actually control these things, as the affirmative would like to think. So yeah, it was good, Howard. Again, I think a little bit too reliant on cars, just like everybody else. Try, Howard, to practice more and have more eye contact. And don't, when you address people, when you greet them, don't say good afternoon, adjudicator. Forget adjudicator. Better just say good afternoon. Actually, technically, you should say good afternoon, chairperson, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? You shouldn't actually say good afternoon to adjudicator. Why is that a problem? Can you guess why?
Because I just focus on that.
Yeah. And it seems like you just want me to listen to you and you're trying to persuade me. Okay, and that can work against you. Not that it did, I'm not saying it did. But just try, remember to address it to everybody. So, in summary then, all in all, I think it was quite close. I thought it was quite close. But the team that won this really had a little bit better arguments, in the sense that the rebuttals were much more closely linked to what the other team said. There was a direct link to something they said. They used the words of the other team and they attacked that quite clearly. Better audience rapport, less reliance on cards, and I think that came out very well. So I have awarded the win to the affirmative team today. The next speaker for the debate, I think, would be Lulu. So sorry to be so long, but
no, very good. Thank you very much.
okay.
We have some cakes for you.
Oh, this is
well.
great.
So I know it's heading towards tea time, and if you're feeling as hungry as I am, you're going to want some cake. Thanks, Ariane.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you, girls.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you for a really good challenge.
I don't know. I'll just rewrite these numbers so you can read them. I don't know if you want copies of this.